Kia ora, good evening. Fonterra has slashed its Farmgate milk price for the 2014-15 season, taking forecast cash payout to around $5 per kilogram of milk solids for the season. Volatile global markets are behind the move, with global milk supply greater than demand. Falling oil prices, geopolitical uncertainty in Russia and Ukraine, and subdued demand from China all contributing. The global dairy trade prices for whole milk powder have fallen almost 17% since September, while skim milk powder prices are down 7.7%. The revised forecast reflects board and management's best estimates at this time, and advice to farmers is to continue to be cautious with budgeting. Fonterra has already trimmed its previous $7 per kilogram of milk solids to $6, and then again in September to $5.30, with a dividend range of 20 to 25 cents per share. That compares to a record $8.40 payout last season. The New Zealand dollar fell to a 2.5-year low immediately before Fonterra's announcement. And this is Fonterra's third payout cut this season, and is expected to knock $6 billion off the sector's revenue compared with last season. Government's deficit is $260 million higher than forecast due to lower revenue and higher costs than expected. For the 4 months ended October 31st, the operating deficit balance before gains and losses was $1 billion, $260 million larger than forecast in the May budget. Even though core Crown tax revenue was almost 8% higher than the same time last year, it was $97 million lower than forecast in the budget. Finance Minister Bill English says stable growth, growing employment and low interest rates are helping New Zealand to get ahead, but at the same time, falling dairy prices and low inflation are impacting on the nominal economy and government revenue, making it more challenging for government to achieve its fiscal targets as quickly as it would like. More Invercargill Housing New Zealand properties can expect some changes in their driveway early next year. Housing New Zealand are pushing a program aimed to reduce the risk of children being injured in the driveways of state homes by making safety improvements to homes across Invercargill.
16 homes throughout the city have already been fitted with extra fencing, self-closing gates, speed bumps, restriction signs and convex mirrors. A further 10 homes are due to have the same safety improvements early next year. Housing New Zealand are taking the steps to ensure the extra safety despite there being no laws in place to keep driveways fenced.
Let's try and keep the driveway and play areas separate, and a simple solution would be to keep them fenced. But if that's not a possibility, parents, we need to be really checking and supervising children around vehicles anywhere, driveways, playgrounds, car parks, anywhere.
Family support service Plunkett have long been pushing their driveway safety initiative and are welcoming the driveway improvements, especially around the Christmas period, which is the worst time of the year for driveway incidents.
We support anything that will help a child and assist families in keeping their children safe. We know that driveways are really dangerous places, and we like the fact that Housing New Zealand are looking to separate driveways from play areas.
Do you have a message for people who don't have these safety measures in their driveway?
I think that it's a community responsibility. So you may live in a home that's rented, or you don't own, or you might be building a home, and I think you just need to take into account a child's safety.
And what steps do Plunkett take to ensure driveway safety with families?
All we can do with families is help educate and advocate for driveways to be safer. So we have a demonstration kit that we use with families that might attend parenting groups or play groups, and that's also available for anybody in the community to use. It is a really powerful way of showing families that how dangerous it is. Most of us don't realise until we sit in a car and have a child behind us that we just don't see them, and it may help people understand it's not just about backing, it's also about driving forward, it's what's beside the car. There's lots of different risks.
Why do you think this time of the year is particularly dangerous?
Probably because children are outside more, and everybody's busy.
Housing New Zealand is investing up to $10 million per year for the nationwide program over the next 3 years. Sharon Rees, South Today News.
One Invercargill group celebrated today with a drink, some lunch and a breath of fresh air. Today marks the 10-year anniversary of legislation coming into effect which bans smoking from indoor spaces. Invercargill's smoke-free Mirahuku aims to make Southland smoke-free by 2025 and celebrated the 10-year milestone by having a drink and enjoying the smoke-free Southland Sports Bar and Tavern.
This is huge. I mean, if we think back 10 years ago, people thought the sky was going to fall in. We didn't think it would be so easy just to have this roll. It went pretty much unmarked. You know, there wasn't the public outcry that they expected.
Do you think this has contributed to lowering smoking rates in Southland?
Well, since the 2006 census, smoking rates have dropped over 23%, so that doesn't really give a full indication of what's happened in the last 10 years, but certainly some of that will be attributable to these smoke-free environments.
What's the next big step for a smoke-free environment?
Well, we're looking forward all the time to having a smoke-free New Zealand. So we're talking about New Zealand being smoke-free by 2025. So that means we need to get smoking rates down to 5% of the population. At the moment, 85% of New Zealand are smoke-free. So there's no room to be complacent, and we really do need to keep pushing ahead with smoke-free environments. So looking at streets, inner city, streets, footpaths, where families and children congregate. It would be really important that those areas are smoke-free so that eventually we can look ahead and think our children or our grandchildren won't know what tobacco was. It'll be history, really.
So it was really great to see that creating a smoke-free environment within bars and other workplaces offered the same protection to workers. And it also covered volunteers. So anybody who volunteered at a bowling club or a darts club also got protection from exposure to secondhand smoke. But in effect, it actually made hotels and workplaces a lot more pleasant to be in. People just accepted the change, and a lot of them took up the opportunity to make a quit attempt. And of course, with the extra support now, if you do want to make a quit attempt, we've got good nicotine replacement therapy that can support you in that. So it's been a really good win, really, for everybody.
Still to come on the bulletin, a Christmas treat for some of the city's older citizens, plus how to stay fire safe this festive season. Welcome back. Government last night welcomed the passing of the Countering Terrorist Fighters legislation bill in Parliament. The legislation was passed with the support of the Labour Party, ACT and United Future. The Prime Minister said the threats faced by New Zealand have grown and it's important that New Zealand has the ability to respond. He says the bill's in response to the evolving threat posed by foreign terrorist fighters and will enhance the safety and security of New Zealand. National guest nights for October 2014 were 7.3% higher than October last year, resulting in the 7th consecutive month of rises. Otago, which includes Queenstown, was the main contributor to the national increase in October, and 11 of the 12 regional areas had increases. Comparing to last October, with the South Island guest nights were up 9.1%, with North Island up 6.3%. International guest nights climbed 11.3%, while domestic nights climbed 5.1%. Guest nights were up for all 4 accommodation types, according to Statistics New Zealand. The accommodation survey records the number of guests staying in hotels, motels, backpacker accommodation and holiday parks in New Zealand each month. A special Christmas movie screening was held today for some of the city's more senior residents. Old-time Christmas songs rang out as nearly 70 elderly residents from 3 rest homes in Invercargill attended the screening of Disney's One Magic Christmas at the Civic Theatre today. Free ice creams and an afternoon tea completed the outing. This is the second time the event's been held, which was promoted 3 years ago when Rowena Jackson approached the Civic Theatre venue's manager about running an event while carpets were cleaned at the retirement complex. This year the invitation was extended to other rest homes too. Our officials want to make sure Southlanders have the safest possible Christmas and New Year's. We caught up with local fire service to hear their safety message over the holiday period.
I would like to wish you all a very merry and a safe fire Christmas. We still have a few problems here in Southland, but before we talk about that, I'd like to wish all our volunteers, our Invercargill career firefighters, a very lovely Christmas, and thank you for their support and their care of the communities in the last year. The fire service has gone through a lot of changes. Our medical calls have increased 400%. You guys have been very busy out there. You've had changes of appliances, some not to your liking, and we've gone through many station rebuilds, which is great for us. So it's all looking good for the future. We're changing to our 2020 vision so we can be the best that we can be. So secondly, we need you, the public, to get behind us and be safe this Christmas. We still have common factors in our serious house fires nationwide. Mostly that's lack of maintenance on the smoke alarms. We've gone through so much effort to get those into your houses, and we need you, the people, to maintain them. Get them going for when you go away camping this Christmas. They can be heard by your neighbours, so your house will be safe. We just want you to look after yourself and have a great Christmas. With you people who are going camping, just be careful. Those candles around the camper. Watch the children, lighters, keep them safe. Watch the barbecues, the hungies, all those things. Have a smoke alarm around somewhere if you can as well. Just look after those children and your family. In Invercargill, we still have some serious problems with miscellaneous fires. Chimney fires become part of that, electrical fires, discarding of rubbish and ashes up against buildings. Just be careful out there, look after yourself, and mostly have a fire-safe Christmas. Thank you.
Some great advice there, Neil. Thank you. Right, that's all from us tonight. Sport follows the weather next from the news team. Good night.